There are definitely a number of really challenging topics in the high school, outside of the high school, and it really helps me to reflect on where I am in my life. For season 2, we had like a house party. I don't know if you've seen the episode, but that was just a lot of fun because it was most of the cast. It was, like the high school students, but also some of the adults that came in. So just shooting that scene was, it was long. It was a long day, but it was a lot of fun. There are a lot of aspects of relatability in the show, and things feel very real. We shoot in a real high school.
Hello everyone who joins and who watches that new episode of my new series, the episodes with the cast of Ginny and Georgia, and today's guest is Tameka from the series. Hello Tameka,
Hi,
how are you?
I'm doing well, Vince. How are you?
I'm fine, little bit tired, but I was totally waiting for the interview, so I'm so enthusiastic. My first question would be, how did the opportunity come to Ginny and Georgia? So were you approached or did you apply, and was there casting or something similar?
So this was back in 2019. I auditioned for Ginny and
Wow.
Georgia in July of 2019. Yeah, and it was a brand new show, so I didn't know anything about it. I don't think anyone knew that it was going to be as big as it's become, but I got an audition from my agent, and this was pre-COVID, so I went to the audition in person, and it was downtown Toronto. I had a lot of fun with the character. I had a couple of days to prepare for the audition, and I'm so happy that I'm where I am now with regard to this show.
And what was your first reaction when you found out you got your role?
It was really cool because it was really new in my career. It was one of the first projects that I'd ever booked. Around that same time, I had booked a couple of other smaller projects, none of them as big as Ginny and Georgia, but I was really excited. It's always so exciting to know that the efforts that you put forth are recognized and appreciated.
After when you got your role, what was the hardest part of bringing your character to life, and how did you prepare for it? So was there any unexpected challenge that surprised you, for example?
Well, like I said, it's still pretty new. I am still quite new in my career, so I think that there are challenges that I face every single day, every single audition, and the preparation for me is always changing because I'm still trying to figure out what's best. But because my character is in high school and I've been in high school before, just trying to think back to what my experience was like and where my head was at and what my thought processes were. So I really think that my character, Bracia, is similar to who I was in high school, just like a little bit better. So I'm just trying to relive myself in high school, but being a better version of her.
In the cast, who was your first friend?
I met Chelsea first, actually. So Chelsea plays Nora, and we started shooting kind of in the latter half of the summer, so it was still pretty nice outside. And I stepped outside of my trailer, and Chelsea was there. She introduced herself, and she's really sweet. She's still very dear to me. I love the entire cast, but Chelsea is the first person that I met.
I think the show has a lot of serious topics. So, for example, high school life, or just like the mental health and helping with the mental health. What do you think about the themes, and could you learn anything from the show?
Absolutely. Yeah, there are definitely a number of really challenging topics in the high school, outside of the high school, and it really helps me to reflect on where I am in my life and how I dealt with problems in high school. And so, with that, like, I think with acting in general, I'm able to be more empathetic towards other people just because I get to put myself in other people's shoes or read other people's stories and immerse myself in that way. Yeah, I think that that's like the biggest thing for me, just recognizing that there are so many different stories and so many different interpretations and connecting with people in that way, in the way that we're so fortunate to do as actors, is huge. It's important. So, yeah.
Were there any scenes in the series that touched you personally?
Ginny's self-harm was really carefully handled, and I so appreciate the way that it was written, and of course the way that Tony performed, and just the delicacy of such a heavy topic. Um, those scenes always touch me every time that we get a new script for an episode, whether or not I'm in the episode or in the scene. I'm reading it and it resonates, and then I watch it. It's even harder, and that's just something that I come back to: the self-harm, because of how touchy that subject is. I appreciate that we even explored it, and I appreciate the way that the performance was carried out.
Was there any memorable moment during the shooting that you would like to share?
um, so we just wrapped season 3, which was so much fun. Season 3 is going to be incredible, and I really hope that you and all of your viewers and listeners tune in when it comes out. But for season 2, we had like a house party. I don't know if you've seen the episode, but that was just a lot of fun because it was most of the cast. It was, like the high school students, but also some of the adults that came in. So just shooting that scene was, it was long. It was a long day, but it was a lot of fun because we were all like in party clothes, and we were all just kind of reliving those kind of house parties that we had. I'm sure a lot of us had when we were in high school. So that was fun.
How often do you look back at your own scenes, and are there any that you would reshoot if you had the chance?
Uh, I'm getting better now at watching myself. It's uncomfortable sometimes to rewatch my work. I know that a lot of artists are really critical of the work that they've done. What would I redo? I think honestly, like the first and second scenes that I ever shot on Ginny and Georgia, I was so nervous, and I wish I could just go back to myself then and just like reassure her that things are going to be okay, because again, I didn't know that the show was going to be what it is, but I was still so nervous, and I wish that I let go of some of that pressure on myself.
As the usual viewer, how should we imagine? So, for example, how many times do you need to reshoot a scene, for example?
I don't think we do that really often. We have a really incredible cast, and our crew is really amazing too. I think everyone's really communicative with what they want. If there's anything that needs to be reshot, it's like technical. And I've been fortunate enough to be behind the scenes to see that it's not a performance thing when it's not always a performance thing when we're asked to kind of do a scene again. Maybe it's just like a little change, or like a hair thing or a clothing thing. So we're not reshooting things like over and over and over again, which I really appreciate.
What's your opinion? Why do you think the viewers love the show so much, and what do you think, what its biggest message, and why do you think people could resonate?
I think that there are a lot of aspects of relatability in the show, and things feel very real. We shoot in a real high school. A lot of the casts are friends with each other, so there's that familiarity there. I think that that kind of comes through on screen, and people recognize that. Um, we are fortunate, I guess, in that we had so many eyes on the show when it came out. Unfortunately, that was during a global pandemic, but I don't think that people would continue to watch if they didn't really love the show. So that was the catalyst, that was the jumping off point, but we still had strong viewership because people just love our characters. People love the show.
How has being on the show affected your career and future projects? So has it also had any impact on your personal life or the way people perceive you?
Um, there have definitely definitely been a couple of people just in and around Toronto where I live who recognize me, which is really interesting. It's really cool. Um, I think having my name and myself attached to a project that's done so well has been really beneficial for my career, and I think that I still have so much to learn, but this has been such a great support and foundation. And my standards are really high now, like because our show is done so well and because we have such a great cast and an amazing crew. I just kind of expect that things are gonna just get better and better for me.
If you had the chance to try another character from the show, what would you choose or who?
Um, I think that I would like to be the therapist. So the therapist is played by an actress named Zarin, and she's really cool. She's really incredible. Because I've had my own journey with therapy, I think that it would be interesting to be on that side as a therapist and speaking to someone and having um, not exactly a motherly um, figure, but having a level of stability to give to someone like Ginny who's dealing with so many things all the time.
Who is your favorite character?
Oh, that's so hard. That's so hard. There's so many great ones because everyone is so like dynamic. I really love Georgia. Like, I don't know what it's like to be a mom of two who's done all of these crazy wild things in her life and has been on the run and a bunch of things. Georgia's done a lot, and I think for that reason she is my favorite because she's so just like dynamic and crazy but poised in her own way.
If you were not an actor, what would you do? Would it be something creative or completely different?
um so initially I was interested in being a TV journalist. That felt the
Wow.
closest to me to acting. um so maybe I would be a TV journalist right now. Before that I was interested in law. Maybe I would just be, finishing law school, or I don't even know how it works, but maybe I would be in law in some capacity. But there have been a number of things that I've been interested in my life. So maybe I would just be trying something new all the time. I don't know.
As a normal viewer, how should I imagine, for example, shooting a season? So how long is it? How many days do you have with shooting, or how many free days do you have?
So shooting happens over the course of a few months. This time it was like 5.5, 6 months, something like that. And it was great. It's a lot of fun. It's multiple days during the week and it's multiple hours per day. I'd say that like a few scenes get shot per day, maybe a couple, 2 or 3 scenes per day. And there's their own, like the production team deals with what gets shot when. So that's all up to them. We don't get to decide what gets shot, whenever. But it's fun. It's so much fun. Every time I go to set, I'm just like, this is so cool. I can't believe that this is my job. Yeah, I feel really lucky. I feel really blessed, and I get to grow and learn more about myself through acting. So, I thank the Lord for this opportunity every single day.
Could you share to us a little secret from season 3? What could we expect from Glacier?
I'm not going to share any secrets. I'm sorry. No secrets from season 3.
These are my questions. Thank you, Tameka, for coming and answering to my questions. I really hope you
Yeah.
liked it.
Thank you so much for your time, Vince.
And thank you also who watched this episode. Have a nice day, everyone. Bye bye.
Bye.